Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there lived a man named Daedalus and his young son, Icarus. Daedalus was an inventor and a skilled craftsman. He created wonderful mechanical creations and built architectural marvels. One day, King Minos invited Daedalus to the Island of Crete. The king asked him to build a huge maze for his beloved pet, the Minotaur. A Minotaur was a monstrous creature who was half man and half bull. Daedalus worked day and night along with his son to build the labyrinth. He made it so complicated that anyone who entered the maze would get lost for eternity. He was such a fine architect. When the labyrinth was ready, the king was amazed at Daedalus' skills and rewarded him. Daedalus and Icarus decided to stay on the island for some more days. It was during this time that a group of children arrived at Crete. They sailed away the next day, taking the king's daughter with them, and they had killed the Minotaur too. King Minos was stricken with grief. He believed Daedalus helped the children, as there was no other way they could get out of the maze alive. But Daedalus was innocent, and he had no clue about what happened. The king punished Daedalus and Icarus by keeping them as prisoners on the island of Crete. The father and son were helpless. How could they ever get out of this island without the ships? One day, Daedalus noticed the birds flying in the air. Wings, Daedalus thought. He knew he needed wings to escape from the island. From that day, they both began to gather all the bird feathers they could find. Daedalus glued them together with wax, one by one. After many days of hard work, Daedalus finished making 2 pairs of wings. He then decided that it was time to escape from the island. He called Icarus and gave him instructions. You must never fly too close to the sun, as the wax may melt. Fly too close to the ocean, and your wings will become too heavy with water that sprays off the waves. Icarus nodded in agreement. They flapped their wings, and wonder of wonders, they rose up in the air. They flew up in the air, and when they looked back, they could see the island of Crete far behind them. Icarus was excited, and he flew higher and higher. "Stop, or the wax will melt," Daedalus shouted when he saw Icarus flying close to the sun. But Icarus was too far away, or too lost in his own happy thoughts of excitement to listen to his father's warnings. Before soon, the sun began to melt the wax and feathers started falling off. "Help me!" shouted Icarus. But before Daedalus could reach his son, Icarus started falling. Poor Icarus plunged into the water and drowned. Daedalus landed as quickly as he could on the beach near where Icarus had fallen. But the only sign of his son was a few feathers floating in the waves. He named the island Icaria in memory of his son. On the beach where he landed, he built a temple to the sun god Apollo, and inside it hung the wings he had created, vowing never to fly again. A long, long time ago, there lived a god named Dionysus in ancient Greece. He was the Greek god of wine, comedy, and tragedy. He had a special talent as well. He could shift into the form of any living thing he wanted. He could shapeshift into a roaring lion or a tiny rat. Sometimes he would disguise himself as a man in order to travel about in the world of humans. On one such occasion, Dionysus disguised himself as a handsome young man, dripping with jewels, and went wandering along the shore of the sea. Some pirates saw him and kidnapped him, thinking he was a prince for whom they would receive a great ransom. They grabbed him and carried him off to their pirate ship. Dionysus found all this rather funny and waited to see what these stupid men would do next. The pirates tied him tightly to the mast without knowing that the person was actually a god. When the rope started rubbing his skin uncomfortably, Dionysus simply used his magical powers to push the rope away. The ship's pilot saw this, and he gasped in surprise. He knew that he and his fellow pirates had made a terrible mistake. "You fools! Do you not realize that this is a god we have brought on board our ship?" The captain of the ship scoffed at the pilot's words and ordered the men to bind their prisoner once again. Dionysus kept calm and waited until the ship reached deep water. Dionysus had enough by now, so he pushed the ropes away and turned into a roaring lion. He also conjured up a bear, and together they sprang on the terrified pirates. The pirates leaped overboard into the sea to escape, but before they reached water, Dionysus used his magical powers to turn them into dolphins. Soon, only one pirate left alive on board was the ship's pilot, who had begged for his release. The pilot, too, wanted to jump overboard. When he saw his peers getting turned into dolphins, he knew that it was not a good idea. There was no one left on the ship except for Dionysus and the pilot. The ship moved forward smoothly, sailing toward the island of Naxos. When they reached the island, Dionysus leaped out, leaving the pilot on the ship. Dionysus blessed the man and said, "Behold, I am Dionysus. Have no fear." He waved him goodbye and gave a magical shove out to the sea. Dionysus wandered around, and suddenly he saw a lovely woman sleeping at the shore. When he approached her, Dionysus was taken aback by her beauty. He waited there patiently till she was awake. The woman was none other than Ariadne, daughter of Minos, a very powerful and cruel king. She had journeyed to the island of Naxos with Theseus. While Ariadne slept at night, Theseus left her side and took the ship, stranding her on the island. Ariadne told Dionysus about what happened. Dionysus was enchanted by her beauty and fell instantly in love with her. He asked Ariadne to marry him. Ariadne agreed and accepted Dionysus as her husband. It was only after marriage that she realized he was actually a god.